A bagel is a bread roll originating in the Jewish communities of Poland. Bagels are traditionally made from yeasted wheat dough that is shaped by hand into a torus or ring, briefly boiled in water and then baked. The result is a dense, chewy, doughy interior and a brown and sometimes crisp exterior.
You're watching the Bear Pantry Show.
We have to start with a starter, guys, so I need a cup of warm water. The water is hot enough for me to touch, but if I leave my finger in the stream, I'm going to get burned. So that's how you know how hot the water is supposed to be. So I have half the amount of flour here, sugar, and active dry yeast. And to this, I'm adding the warm water. So I've divided the flour. I'm going to have the ingredients listed below in the description because I'm going to be making two different types of bagels today. And this one uses more sugar than the other one that I'm going to make, all right? So my paste is ready. I'm going to set this aside for 15 minutes and then work on the dry ingredients, which is the remaining amount of flour, cinnamon, salt, and some raisins. So this is going to be cinnamon raisin bagels. Let me give this a stir. My starter is ready because it's been 15 minutes. So let me go ahead and add all of this dry ingredients to the wet or to the starter, okay? Now in a separate bowl, I have the same starter going, but with less sugar because we're going to be doing jalapeno cheese bagels for that batch, all right? So let's go ahead and dump all of this into the starter, and I'm going to use my Spurtle Myrtle given to me by my friend Cindy. Cindy's the one that also gave me the pasta maker, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and use that to give it a stir. You can use the handle of a wooden spoon or the handle of a spatula or maybe even a fork to get this started, okay? And then at some point you're going to want to get your hand in here and just going to work it around. We're just working the dough around the bowl to gather all the dry stuff that's clinging, right? I haven't added any more wet ingredients, but if you need to, you can drop a couple drops of water to bring it together. But I probably won't need to because I measured everything precisely. And this recipe is in my book that's called No More Leftovers. I have it also in the book that's called The Pantry Laid Bare, but that will give you 8 to 10 bagels. This one will give you 5 to 6 bagels, okay? You want to cook more at home, but recipes can be overwhelming. That's because most recipes cater to a large group. The solution is my small batch book, No More Leftovers. Enjoy air fryer wings and other appetizers for 2, small batch Belizean breads, main dishes for 2, small batch dishes and drinks and smoothies for 1. You'll be able to stay on your eating plan or diet because my recipes for mini cakes, pies, and cookies only yield enough for you to enjoy a treat and share with a couple of friends or family. Pick up a copy of my small batch book at www.bearpantryshow.com. Shop safely and securely at www.bearpantryshow.com. Thank you so much for picking up my books, guys. Every time you buy a book, you sponsor the show. So let me go ahead and get the dough out the bowl. And then I'm going to try to pick all the sticky dough off of my fingers. Get off as much as I can. And then I'm going to pause, go wash my hands and dry them because it makes kneading a whole lot easier. So this is the cinnamon raisin bagels, as you can tell from the raisins poking out of the dough. I just want to go ahead and knead it until it's smooth, not too long. Make it into a ball, put it back into the same bowl. Don't even wash the bowl, guys, because that's just going to be double work, okay? I'm going to set this aside for about 45 minutes to an hour while I work on the other set of bagels. I'm putting stuff in the dry ingredients, the salt, Parmesan cheese, and I put the jalapeno peppers. I dice them up and put them in the wet, but you can put them in the dry if you want to. It doesn't matter, okay? So now I'm just making this into a dough ball just like I did with the first batch of bagels. Get my hand in here, work it around, get all the dough off of the edge or the sides of the bowl, then dump it onto the countertop. I'm going to try to take off as much of the dough. Work the dough around in the bowl to try to gather all the stuff that's on the sides. And then I'm going to take it out and dump it onto the countertop. So I'm going to stop just like I did with the first batch. And I'm going to go wash my hands and dry them. And then now I'm back to this dough. If it's too sticky, add some flour. But if it's not, just go ahead and knead it until it's smooth. And then go ahead and put it in a bowl, okay? and leave it here for about 45 minutes to an hour. The jalapeno cheese one is ready before the cinnamon raisin, and the cinnamon raisin has more sugar because that's going to be a sweeter one, right? Now, bagels don't have a lot of sugar in them. I don't even know if they're originally made with sugar, but they don't have a lot of sugar, so they go bad pretty quickly. So now I want to go ahead and cut them into 5 equal pieces because they have risen. Took about 45 minutes. So notice what I'm doing. I'm doing a little trick that I learned from TikTok, guys, to get 5 equal pieces, right? So you cut like a V first into the top part of the flattened dough, and then you put the tail like the letter Y, and then you cut the 2 pieces apart. Yes, this is a trick. If you notice that the video is in the profile orientation, it's because I was just going to do shorts from this video, but I have so much footage that I decided to do a long form. Notice I'm just splitting some of the dough because one felt smaller. Yeah, so I'm going to do it as a long form and maybe break some of it up into shorts. I don't know yet. But going forward, I think for my shorts, I just want to go ahead and do tips and tricks. They're easier to create. I can pump out more shorts more quickly than having to sit here and edit for 8 hours to get a cooking video. I'm going to remove this one raisin that's right here because if it's allowed to cook outside of the dough like that, it'll burn. So I have a huge hole cutter thing here. It's a cookie cutter. See how big it is compared to this one? Now, if you don't have that, you can tear it apart with your hand, but it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be pretty like this. So I'm going to set it aside and set the holes aside. Well, the pieces that you punch out of the holes, right? And just make sure one part is smooth. There's always going to be a smooth side after you cut the dough. And then you're just going to work it around and pinch, pinch, pinch until all the bottoms are closed off. Then set it down, roll it, or you can roll it between the palms of your hands. Press it, press it, press it, let it relax, rest, relax before you grab the rolling pin. Now I know you guys are probably hearing the air conditioning thing going, but you guys, it's hot, so I have to let it run. I hope it doesn't bother you. I've been trying all day to do this voiceover for you guys, but the AC just keeps coming on. Alright, so punch it out. This is the cinnamon raisin one. Set it aside, and then we're going to use brown sugar in 1 pot of water for the cinnamon raisin bagels. You can use pancake syrup if you want to instead of the brown sugar. In the other pot for the cheese jalapeno bagels, we're just going to put some salt. Okay, so I have 2 egg yolks here that I'm just going to mix up and add some water to it to make egg wash. The egg wash will go on the bagels after they're boiled. Why are they boiled? I don't really know. I think back in the olden days maybe it had something to do with religion or something like that. I don't know. Don't quote me, okay? So they take about 1 to 2 minutes to boil on each side. Get a slotted spatula like this or a slotted spoon to remove them. Put them on a wire rack and then paste the egg yolk on both sides, the top and the bottom. I used to do it only on the top, but I found out if I do it on the bottom too, it makes for a crunchy outside on both sides of the bagel, alright? So another one's boiling here. And I have some parchment paper on the baking sheet, because that's going to make it easier to remove than to just grease the baking sheet. It seems like I'm just boiling the sweet ones, but I'm not. I'm boiling the other ones too. I'm just not panning over to that pot right now. So I've painted the bottom, flipped it. I'm painting the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and move it onto the baking sheet. See, I told you I'm boiling the other ones. You guys didn't believe me. Flip it over, paint the bottom. I'm being very delicate too because we don't want it to look wrinkly and ugly if you press on it too much, right? Paint the top. And then sprinkle some Parmesan cheese. See, this is the last one. I'm making a baby. I got 2 babies out of it, okay? Why? Because I got it from the stuff that we punched out of the holes. See? We've got 6 and a baby. Look at it, see? Look at the little baby in the middle. Joshua's going to eat both of those little ones. So bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It's baked pretty high, guys. 400 for about a half hour. So it took 15 minutes for the starter, 1 hour, well, 45 minutes for it to rise the first time. And then it took another like 20 minutes for it to rise the second time. Then we boiled it, baked it for half hour. How long did it really take, guys? 2.5, 3 hours from start to bagel? Oh my god, these look so good. Joe, I need for you to go make some eggs. Look, the bagel lady's here.
This is the Beth Country Show.